All right, good morning. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Inspiration Studio at Home. My name is Liz Schrenk, and I'm going to be doing some of the art demos for you. And we're really excited that you're part of this, that your family is making some things along with us together at home. And today we're going to talk about the art project that goes along with what we've been learning about David and Goliath. So we're going to make some kindness rocks. We're going to paint rocks, which I'm sure you've probably seen. This is a fun and trendy thing to do. Some of you have maybe even done this before. So I'm going to just kind of give you a quick rundown of how best to do this. In your kits, you should have some river rocks and paint pens. These are acrylic paint pens, which means that they will stain your clothing. They will stain a table. Acrylic is permanent. So make sure that you kind of put your kids into a location where you don't mind possibly a little paint getting on. Even though these are markers, it will stain. So lay down perhaps paper towel, newspaper. You could put them outside with a cardboard box to work in. Just make sure that you kind of protect yourself, protect your clothes, and tell your kids that this is permanent. With your rocks, the first thing you should do is rinse them off. They've been in a big kind of pile together and they're very dusty. So rinse the rocks off, let them dry. If you still, when you touch them, get that kind of powder and dust on your hands, give them another rinse because otherwise the paint won't stick very well. So make sure you rinse off your rocks before you start. And then I would encourage you to tell your kids to kind of have a plan for what they want to do. This is a rock I've been working on. I've been working on making it blue because I love the color blue. So I wanted to kind of cover it in that. And we'll talk about that in a second. This is one that my husband Peter made, and it has tiny, cute little froggies on it. So he colored the rock brown first. He knew he wanted to do a pond with kind of frogs in it. So we're going to kind of walk through how to do that, but encourage your kids to kind of have a plan in mind before they start. So when you're starting to use your paint pen, actually I'll use the orange so you can see a little better. You're going to shake it up. And to start the ink flowing, I'm going to see if I can find one that hasn't been started yet. Here's one that hasn't. We'll use the gray first. You'll see when you take the top off that the tip of the marker is white. It doesn't have any of the paint in there yet. So what you're going to do is just gently, you don't want to destroy this thing, but you're gently going to push up and down. And then you'll see the tip fill in with the paint. Once that tip fills in with paint, you can start coloring with this marker on the rock. So the paint then should flow easily out of the paint pen onto the rock. And this will take a while. This is one of those, like, you need a little time with your kids outside, a little quiet time to yourself inside. Send them outside, tell them to color their rocks. Because this is time consuming. You can see how quickly it goes, right? They're just going to kind of push down. If the marker starts to feel dry, you can gently push straight down on that tip and you'll see kind of a squirt of paint will come out. And that's okay when you're painting the whole rock. You don't want to do that when you're doing finer details because you'll get kind of that big squirt of paint. So here you can see me kind of using that orange to fill in the background of the rock. When you're working, it's not a bad idea to have some paper towels handy if you need to wipe your hands, if you get any on your hands. If you mess up on your rock and can kind of wipe it off before it dries, then you'll be able to get the paint off of there. But what's nice about these acrylic paint pens is that you can cover your mistakes. So if, as you're working, if you decide there's something you don't really like, you can just go over it either with another color, with that same color. You should be able to cover everything with these paint pens. And we're going to just call that done for the sake of this video. I'm going to turn it over. And now I'll start adding details. So I was thinking I would write the word love on this rock, on this blue rock, and I'm going to use this bright orange with the blue that I have so far. One of the nice things about this kind of movement of people painting rocks is that you can leave them for people to discover. You could go as a family on a walk together. You can look for rocks together. You could make some of these rocks and come bring them over to Meadows and leave them for us to see to encourage the staff. So again, as I add these smaller details like the letters, I'm not pushing down on the tip of the marker because I don't want a big splat of paint. And if you're looking for ideas and inspiration, we'll post some things to this Facebook group, but you could find so many great ideas on Pinterest or even just a quick Google image search. You could, paint your rocks just with patterns. You could have your kids draw their favorite emoji. You could have your kids, write their names on a rock. There's so many fun things you can do. So you can see now I've written the letters in orange. And this yellow paint pen has a little bit more paint in the tip, so I'm drawing kind of dots around the edge, and it's probably hard to see on the video, but they're kind of thicker dots of paint. So I just want to be careful that I don't, as these are drying, that I don't like tip the rock too much or put my hand over it to smudge them, because these will need to dry for a couple minutes. These paint pens dry pretty quickly. What I was doing before on the back of this rock is already dry. But this is kind of the idea, that you're just going to use these paint pens to decorate your rocks. Make sure your kids first start by covering the rock with a solid color, and then you can add details on top of that, like a little froggy, or like the word love. So we love you, and I hope that you have fun making your rocks, and we can't wait to see them. Share pictures with us either on Instagram or on our Facebook group, or you can email them to the church so that we can see what you're working on at home. All right, thanks.